start this week by thanking everyone who's been listening to the podcast so far. It really makes it worthwhile when I see that someone's listening, especially because my guests are giving me their time for free as well. So it's nice to know that I'm giving them some kind of a platform, even if it's just small. So I just want to ask, if you are liking what you're hearing, that you subscribe to my podcast on the apps and on YouTube as well. And if you like it and you think your friends will enjoy it, give it a share on social media for me as well, because you guys are the ones that are going to help me spread the word about it and help it grow. So yeah, just want to say thanks for that. Okay, so this week, my guest this week is singer-songwriter Ger O Hanlon from Cork. We chatted about how an active imagination comes in handy when songwriting, about how the rise of social media has influenced artists like Ger, and about his previous releases and what's to come in the future. So where are you now? Are you in Cork or are you in Dublin?
So at the moment now, I'm just in Cork. I moved down about 2 or 3 days ago because my contract was up in Dublin.
I was what were you doing?
It was just the accommodation up there. So I was working on music with people. So I decided for the couple of months while I was there, I'd actually not going to waste money and just move down. The second the lockdown comes, I'll just stay until it's done so I can get all my work done. And then I move back down. So I'm only back down 2-3 days, I'd say.
Oh, grand. And are you back in your parents' house or whatever now?
I am. I'm back in the parents' house now, but I'm back house hunting again now. I'm going to hopefully try to move to the city for the year. Thinking of taking a year out of college and just working on my music for the year, working on myself. Just because with the pandemic, I feel like why not work on yourself for the year? I feel like since my college up in BIM is so like interactive and performance-wise, and I'm not doing that, I'm like, well, I might as well take the year out and do something else instead. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was just I knew you switched colleges. You were in Limerick first, was it?
Yeah, I was in the University of Limerick doing the performing arts from about 2017 to start of 2019, and then the September-ish, October time, then I went up to Dublin and I started studying in BIM.
And what made you change over?
I think for me, BIM was much more commercial, and much more modern, and I felt like I definitely wanted to do more the performing and releasing my own music, and I felt like UL was much more if you liked traditional Irish music or classical or like musical theatre, which I did like, but it wasn't like my full passion, which was like writing and recording my own music.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And you probably got a really like good foundation being in is it UL you were in?
Yeah, in UL.
Yeah, like kind of got a really good foundation of music theory and stuff. So.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, which I needed because when I did the audition, they were like, "Will you have 2 years? We'll see what you're capable for, and if we feel you're more capable, we can jump you into the second year instead of starting all over again." And that's what happened then. So they were like, "You can go straight into the second year," and I was like, "Great! I don't have to start the course all over again."
Yeah. Oh my god.
Because college is tough. It's so tough. Like, do you know what I mean?
It is. I don't know if you know, but I went back to college last year myself as well.
Oh, fab.
Yeah, I went back to Cork School of Music, so I know exactly what you're going through.
Oh my God, Cork School. And have you gone back into the first year, the second year, or?
I started in first year, so I actually did a foundation certificate in BIM, and like I'm a bit older though. I'm in my 30s, like, so I've got a few diplomas under my belt, but CSM is much heavier on music theory and stuff like that. So like when I went in for my exam for second year, I was like, I don't have a clue of any of this stuff. I have no idea.
Oh my God. Welcome to my life. I walked into BIM and they had done stuff we hadn't done, but then there was stuff I had done that they hadn't. So I was kind of like, I'll help you if you help me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, but I love CIT because I know a good few of them there. Like I know Trish and stuff now from when I was like judging like Teen Idol and stuff, now the competitions in Cork, and we would have been on the panel and stuff together. And it's an amazing school. I have very good friends up there.
And how come you didn't go there as opposed to BIM?
Well, I actually did audition for it first, but I felt myself that I wanted to kind of branch out a little bit from Cork and try to get more connections because I knew a lot of them in the college already. But I did do an audition for it, and I actually did an audition for a lot of music colleges, and I initially thought I was going to go to primary teaching, which is really weird now thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, I'll give like Mary I a go, and then I was like, I don't know why you're doing that. Like, why aren't you just doing music? So I did that, and I felt like going to Limerick would definitely get me more connections. And just, it was like a new start and like a new adventure, because I knew the music scene really in Cork for, well, basically living here my entire life. So
That makes so much sense, because like anyone who has been to college, or anyone who's working in music at all, would say like it's so important to have a network, you know. So you made a really smart decision, I think, by going to a new place, because you already had a bit of
yeah,
a network in Cork, which is great. Now you've
exactly.
twice the amount.
I nearly have three as well, because when I went to Dublin as well, like I feel like I've gotten a taste of everything now, and they'd be
Yeah.
like big enough counties in Ireland, well, two of the biggest, but you know, I just feel like for me personally, getting the connections and getting my name out there, to me is just as important as getting a degree, because one, getting a degree is one thing, but the connections are so important, especially down the line of work that I want to go down as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I was chatting
Mm.
to do you know Toshin or
Oh,
Toshi?
Tosheen,
Yeah, Toshi.
yes.
Yeah, she's
She
like
was
in fourth
actually,
year. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, she was actually my peer mentor. When I went up, she was like one of the first people I met when I went there. She's so, so lovely. Her music is amazing. Oh my God.
I know. I'm just in love with that girl and her voice. Like she's just
Mm.
unbelievable, like soulful, and just
Oh,
everything that I love
right
about
down my
music.
alleyway. Exactly. And lovely, lovely girl as well. And they're doing so well as well. And she's, honestly, she was so helpful as well when I moved up to them. She'd
Oh,
text you, she'd be like, how are you keeping? Are you
oh,
lost? Do you need help? And I'm like, I actually love this girl so much.
oh,
But
that's so sweet.
they were all so helpful up there as well. So it made the move a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, and so have you kind of launched into like the whole? Oh no, but your COVID and everything. I was going to say, have you launched into the whole college gig thing and stuff like that? You haven't probably been able to with.
We did one or two when
Mm.
I was up in them. They did Whelan's and they did Workman's and they did oh my God, what's the place called? I can't think of it. It'll come to me later. But we did one or two anyway, and they were really, really good. Like, and it was Button Factory. That's what it's called.
Oh
It's the Button
yeah,
Factory. I was
yeah.
like, what is it called? But no, it was really, really good to get the kind of the, I suppose, the feel for, like, you are a professional performer now. This is the way things need to be. You need to come in, you need to have your rehearsal, you need to go, you need to be ready, like everything, like one after the other. So I definitely got a taste for it and I loved it. So I was like, oh my God, absolutely have to do this.
Yeah,
So
and
I think it was fun. Yeah, it was really, really good.
I was going to say, how has that kind of, how have they changed the course delivery since COVID?
It's very much all online now. For the
Mm-hmm.
first maybe month, they were trying to get people to come in and out, but I think there was so many restrictions coming in that they were like, the safest thing to do is keep it online.
Yeah.
But what they're doing at the moment is they're trying to make it very collaborative. So you're working with people at the same time, and you're learning, like one of my modules is studio recording. So
Mm.
we're working on like figuring out like different DAWs, like Logic and Pro Tools and stuff. So that is fun because that's something I've always wanted to do. Like, I want to be very as independent as possible in my own music, to learn how to
Mm.
produce. And because I write all my own songs, like for me, like
Mm.
lyrics are like the thing. I don't even think about the melody first. I'm like, lyrics, lyrics, lyrics.
Really? Wow.
Always lyrics first, and then I adapt my lyrics to whatever I feel the sound needs to be. And I'd be like, not that chord, not that. And then someone would play it, I'm like, that is the chord, that is the entire feel I'm going for. And that's what we kind of do in studio musicianship and studio recording up there too. And it's definitely beneficial, I feel, because I felt like a lot of people were like, they missed the performing side, but doing this is also giving them a little bit more, tools in the box as well, like
Yeah.
for, after college, really, like if people want to go down the line of being professional recording artists and stuff like that. So it's definitely beneficial, and I love doing that side of it as well. It can be stressful, but it's fun.
Yeah, I find the same. Like I would have called myself a bit of a technophobe. But I was so happy and excited to like have that module in my course, because it's something I always wanted to do, but just I don't know why I made it a bigger deal in my head than it actually is. But it can be stressful sometimes, but it's so satisfying when you can get it to work and you can kind of create
Yeah.
something from it.
Yeah, I love just the creating side of things. And you're like, oh my God, I found a new sound. Maybe that will sound cool in this song that I just have not finished. And it's been in like the box for like 10 months and I just haven't touched it. And then you find that one sound, you're like, oh my God, that might go really well with that song. I tried to write and gave up about 10 months ago. And then I'm like, oh, now it's time maybe. So I love the creative process of figuring out new things. And it's really satisfying as well when you know that you've done it yourself and you're like, oh, you feel like you've achieved something really good.
100%. And last year this year was it? Yeah, this year you released When Ash Turns to Dust.
Yes, Ash Turns into Diamond, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Ash Turns to Diamond, is it?
Most people think Ash does.
I think I filled that in my brain like by accident.
You're grand.
Ash Turns to Diamond, yeah.
Yes.
That's so lovely. I always say that saying, if someone says they're stressed, I was like, well, diamonds formed under pressure,
Exactly. And I think that was the whole purpose of the song when I was writing it. It was very kind of like, I think everybody, especially this year, has kind of like gone more into themselves and like they're discovering things about themselves and kind of putting all the negative energy aside. And that's definitely something I did, or trying to do anyway. But though I think the whole concept of the song was that regardless of how much people break you down into this thing that seems pointless, after a while you do build up this kind of tolerance for people like that and scenarios. And in the end, you always actually come out better on the other side because you're more aware of situations and things you felt before you mightn't be able to handle. But now you've come out the side a much more stronger person, e.g. Ash turning into Diamond. So I thought that'd be a really cool name for it.
I love it. I really, really love the title. I knew what the sentiment was behind it, although I got the word or one word wrong. And I was having I've heard the songs as you were releasing them, but a lot of the songs are very like hopeful messages of kind of support. Where did your inspiration come for the songs this year, or did you write them this year?
I wrote most of them around June, July last year. Yeah, I have so many songs I've written that are very similar in I suppose topic. But also quite different. They're addressing different things. Because I feel like personally in the music industry now, there's so much songs about sex and love and all this stuff, and that's been done. But I feel like we need to, and I want to, as an LGBT artist, as an artist that's a little bit bigger, an artist that's just different, I want to write music in support of people that feel they don't have a voice. And I know that might be very cliche, but it's really hard in this industry when pretty privilege is very much a thing as well, where people forget that good looks and talents don't match up. But unfortunately, sex sells and stuff. So I want to really get away from that and kind of go down more the track of, okay, we're a little bit different, but we're still really cool. And here's my message to you that's a little bit different to everything else you're listening to. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. But to me, I feel like, and I heard Lady Gaga say it in an interview, it's very much I'm giving a gift out to someone of not everyone's going to like it, but that one person that song could mean everything to. And I know for me, it saved me. I think in the lockdown, writing those songs when I really, really needed to write them for myself and for other people if they needed them. So I think that was the whole point behind writing all those songs. So yeah, and there's a lot more where that came from. We're taking a little bit of a turn with the next few songs, but also keeping in the same line of, positivity and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that will go well.
And do you just write all the time?
All the time.
Yeah, so you're practicing that skill all the time.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm going to write 10 really bad songs, and then there might be one, or there might be two songs that are kind of medium, and then I'll squish them together because they're quite similar. And then I'm like, okay, now I have a decent song. Yeah, so I'm definitely writing all the time. Inspiration comes out of the most random things as well. Like I could see an apple and I'm like, it's a nice looking apple. Weird things. And then I'm just I think of something okay, apple, I'm thinking Snow White, I'm thinking poisonous. Why don't we make this a metaphor in a song something like I took the bite out of this poison apple and you were the one that made me, I don't know, something something. I always take inspiration out of the most random things because I feel like I see art in literally everything. I love watching dance. I love watching people make music. I love watching acting and how creativity can be done in so many different ways. And I just take inspiration from literally the most random things. So I think it's a good skill to be able to look at the world a little bit differently.
I love that.
Instead of always looking at like, okay, that's a chair. It's made of wood. Okay, what else can it do? And I'm like, well, you sit in it. It's a stable thing. Do you know what I mean? And I look at things in a very different way that other people mightn't see them, which I think to me is powerful, if you get me. And it's just because I don't like looking at things. I never look at myself the same way each day when I wake up. So I'd like to think that people don't look at other things the same way. So that's kind of where all my songwriting comes from.
Yeah, I'm just like, lots of things are popping into my head as we were talking about this, and I was trying to remember. I was chatting to somebody at some point about, but they were basically saying that they're like, they don't just look at things in like the normal way. They like you, they see something more than just a cloth or whatever it is. Like, you know, they see something in that, and they make more art out of it. They give it a meaning and then inject it into their music.
Exactly.
I love
like
that.
There's so many different ways that you can just portray anything in life. Like you're saying, a cloth, like what's a cloth? Oh, it's something that it can wash something, it can comfort you, it's something you put over you like a blanket. Like there's so many different ways to look at things, like, or like how long did that take to like sew that or weave that? And I just find things like that so fascinating, that are so ordinary to most people, but I'm like, if you look into a little bit more, and I'm like that with people as well, like on the outside, like if someone like might be shy, and I'm like, are we sure we're seeing all of it? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's very interesting, you know? I think being appreciative of, like, that was just not the right word, appreciative of like all the like most random things that we like take for granted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like when I'm like writing, I would say melodies come to me more than lyrics do. Like, I do find it very difficult sometimes to put my thoughts into words that would like kind of sing well. Any tips for how would you get started? Any tips for anybody who is looking to write? What would you advise them? What's the Ger technique?
Honestly, I think writing is very subjective for everyone. So personally for me, I just throw down whatever the hell I'm feeling in that moment. If I'm feeling bad, I'm going to write, I feel bad. And I'll write that in about 10 different ways and then be like, okay, I'm going to leave that now. I might come back to it. I think just actually starting to write something, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to be too like intimate with people, and I don't want to write down what I'm feeling because, oh my God, what if someone finds it? But like, I think the thing that most people forget is like, people love relatability and being able to see a side of you that you don't show other people quite often. So I think actually just sitting down and really just writing how you feel in that moment, regardless if it doesn't rhyme or if it doesn't make any sense in that moment, write down words that you associate with it. Like for me, I think that's so powerful to just actually get the courage up to write down what you're feeling in that moment. Because I think we've gone into, like, we're a society that doesn't, like, we're a very open society, but also we're not as open as we think we are.
Yeah.
So I think actually just sitting down and being like, okay, this is how I feel. Treat it like you're talking to like a therapist, because for me, it's very like therapy.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you said that, because I was having a list. I always, if I have any artists on, I always listen to their music to get me in the mood for the podcast, for the chat. But I was listening to your most recent EP, and it's funny that you said it, because it was the lyrics that stood out to me. It really caught me. You were talking about suffocating, and you just said it's been a year of therapy or something like that.
Yeah,
like the first line of the song, I think, and it just really grabbed me straight away, and I was just like, that's so honest, just to write it so plainly, and just it was he wrote it just as it was, and it really stood out to me.
I just felt like you said, writing it as it is, because there's no other way for me to sugarcoat it. It's like, that's how I felt. That's what it was. And like, for me, it wasn't even actually a physical going to therapy. It was me on my own mind trying to be my own therapist and trying to figure out, like, a year of like struggling with this and trying to actually figure out myself what's kind of going on in my mind. And I felt like being open and honest with that, for me, actually just helped me. And that song means so much to me. To me, it's my favorite one that I've written, because I feel like it really summed up how well, shit. I was feeling really for the
Yeah.
entire lockdown and bits beforehand. Like, so for me, that song is my like Hello by Adele. That's my song that I'm like, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed that, and the amount of people afterwards who text me saying like, I needed that, and I'm like, girl, preach, same. That's why I wrote it.
I just loved it. I really do, and I think it's definitely something to take heed to, is like just write what you feel. Because I know for me, I second think everything I write. I'm like, no, this isn't artistic enough, or this isn't eloquent enough, or
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where it came from, but I just know that when I heard the lyrics of that song, and specifically that song, it really stood out to me, and it was just the
Mm-hmm.
way you wrote it. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you if you're okay talking about it a little bit, about like anxiety or depression. Like, I don't know if you've gone through both or one or the other, but I was kind of gathering from your lyrics that maybe there was some kind of struggle there with your
Mm-hmm.
mental health perhaps, and I wanted to ask, did that have any like negative outcomes on you as a person, as an artist, and on your actual voice? Did it affect you negatively anyway?
I think now I'm coping a lot better with it, but the last few months ago, like around actually probably this time last year, is when it dipped really, really badly. I never actually thought I had anxiety or anything like that until I was actually like felt very alone, and I think a lot of people did in the lockdown, and I would end up shaking, like couldn't concentrate. I'd throw on something, I couldn't look at it, I'd feel sick, I'd feel nauseous. Like I couldn't actually sit down with my own thoughts for a few minutes without feeling like I was about to crack up. So I felt like it actually, like, I'm so fine talking about this as well. Like, I know I probably abused alcohol a bit too much over the lockdown. I think maybe a good few people did. I
Yeah.
anything to get me out of the thing. I was jumping on Zoom calls like, let's have drinks, let's have drinks, let's have drinks. I started
Escapism.
smoking. Yeah, I started smoking. Not good for me. So in the
Oh, wow.
retrospect of my voice changing, it did. It's after getting a lot lower and raspier. So I'm currently on the battle of stopping that now.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for my own health, to be quite honest. That's why I said for myself, like, if I take a year out from BIM, I have a year of pause, so I can actually reflect on these things and just kind of get myself a little bit more on track, you know? But I feel like anxiety and depression and stuff like that is definitely something that's kind of core of my songs, but not so much in a way that I want to make everyone feel sad, but more like, this is something you can talk about and we can talk about. And my friends and my family were amazing when I felt at my lowest. And it's so funny, like, because everyone knows, like, I'm a bubbly, happy person. I always try to be like, oh, hi guys, I'm here, because I don't want anyone feeling like I felt. So I always try to make other people a lot happier, because I'm like, I don't want you feeling like this, because it's not a fun time in your own head. So yeah, I think that's the way I write my music, to as a therapy for me and as a therapy for others. But yeah, anxiety and depression, not fun, but we're coping, we're getting there, which is great. And I'm happy that I'm out the other side of it. I'm out of the worst of it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel like they can't get out of it. And I'm not going to lie, I dipped maybe 2 or 3 days ago again, but now I'm fine again. So I think it's a constant thing, but knowing that, like, you have a support system is always really important, because people forget that there is people who actually are looking out for you, and not to block them out, actually just have a sit down with them and be like, look, this is what's going on. This is what I need right now. I might need some space. I might need more people around me. So I think as long as people understand that.
Yeah. And I think I think the people who have been through a hard time, or anyone who was maybe bullied in school, or who just have gone through anxiety or depression, or any low times, or in general, are very empathetic towards other people. They tend to be, because I'd be like you. I just wouldn't want to make anyone else feel the way I felt in the past either. Like it kind of, I think I'm almost over emotional about it, because I can know how that feels like, so I want to like protect everyone. And I think the way you write your songs is kind of leading by example. It's kind of saying like, just, it's okay, like, this is okay, we're here for each other, you're not alone, and talk about it. It's okay to talk about it.
Yeah,
you
100%.
know?
And I feel like exactly what you're saying, like people who've gone through things are much more empaths. And I know that's for me because I've gone through hell and back in my teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
from like being in foster care to coming out to figuring out what I wanted to do with life, being told I wasn't a good singer, like things like that, that would have really shut you down. Oh God, I went through the racks. And I always think like my situation isn't worse than anyone else. There's always someone 10 million times worse than you, but everyone's problem is their biggest at the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can understand things from a lot of others' perspectives that people mightn't see it from, because I've been through stuff most teenagers will go through, but also stuff that they shouldn't go through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think being aware of that and moving on from that is also really, it shows the kind of person you are as well, and how you're trying to grow as a person now, and how you're not letting that, like, because you always hear some people and they're like, well, this happened to me a few years ago and this, and I always use it as an excuse. And yes, some people might find that as a coping, but for me, I'm like, okay, that happened. Let's move on. Let's do this instead. If something bad happened to me, let's turn it into a good situation. I went through all those rough times. I turned them into songs to help other people. And I feel like that's the way I cope with things. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the way everyone should or the way everyone can, but at that moment in time, I felt like this is what I want to do with that situation. As my kind of like, it's happened. Let's make something good out of something that was shitty, basically.
Yeah. And like one of the things that I suppose like I know you for is singing emotively. Do you know, you're so like you're so in everything you sing.
Mm-hmm.
Like where like that obviously comes from all the things that you've been through, you know, that the things that you've been through have kind of colored that and like help you connect with the song. And another question I was going to ask was, how do you, because some of your songs are quite deep, how do you prepare yourself mentally for performing these songs or even going into the studio to record them?
I think when I'm going to the studio, I'm usually, sometimes the song won't be completely written. So I'm actually writing as I'm going, or I'm trying to figure out, okay, maybe I have to change something because I might actually just get a little bit too choked up when I'm trying to record. Like Suffocating, the first few lines, you can tell I'm not feeling it. Like I'm feeling it, but I'm feeling it a bit too much where I actually can't even get out some of I'm cutting the words because it's just air that's coming out because I'm like, here, that's probably the best we're going to get that take, but it's also, I feel like people can feel the emotion. But I feel like I haven't really gotten a chance to perform the songs live, but in other songs that I have sang live that mean a lot to me, I do feel like I need to mentally prepare myself that like, you need to be emotive, you need to think about this because you want people to feel it. But also at the same time, I don't let myself feel it too much because I'm like, I'm not going to stop halfway through the song and start sobbing. But if that does happen as well, it's real and I'm very fine with that too.
Oh my God. It's actually happened to me before. I was singing a song for an audition for something and I had just gone through a breakup and it was I'd rather go blind, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I started bawling. I really was I was trying to like draw on it a bit, but I was mortified, but at the same time I was like, it is what it is. Like I'm a human and that's what happens sometimes. So
it happened to me once when I did a singing competition a few years ago and I did Jealous by Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
Similar situation, and I was just, the last chorus was just me crying. The entire, you could hear, like, wasn't on pitch for anything, but like you could feel, I was just like, if I was in my bedroom screaming out the song, that's exactly what was happening on stage.
Oh my God, yeah. You know, you're very good on social media. You've started using TikTok over you're probably using it before lockdown, but I've noticed that you've been using it a lot more over lockdown.
Yeah, I'm definitely more active on it, yeah.
How has social media influenced you as an artist or as a vocalist?
As a vocalist, it's made me very much wanting to better my skill because obviously you're always going to find people that are better than you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I want to see, can I do that? I want to try this. If I can't do it, it's something I can set a goal for myself. So I think vocally, it's made me like competitive, but in a good, healthy way. to try and get not so much like, I don't care about views. Like, okay, one video gets 200, the other one gets 200,000. Doesn't bother me. Like half my videos the last week haven't even gotten over 100, and I'm very okay with that. But as long as I can feel personal growth and physical growth in the way my vocals are and stuff, like there's always new vocal singing challenges coming out, and I'm like, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that run. I'm going to try that high note, and if I can do it, great. In the actual emotional and the way I'm looking at social media more, I feel like I think people need to get into the mind that like social media isn't real. Like that's not, like I'm seeing things and like, yeah, that person looks happy, but like, how do you know how they're feeling after this? Like people need to kind of, I think, get over the fact that like, this is not real. It's not the real life at all. I always think of social media as like an alternate universe. 100%.
Really?
It's such an alternate universe. Like there's so much stuff that's going on there that like, if you think about it, when you get an internet troll, like, will that person say that to your face? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's a really different alternate reality. And I think people feel like they have a power on it. They don't.
It's
they
cowardly.
have a power to an extent. Cowardly.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. They're hiding behind a curtain, like.
Exactly. Like for me, if I need to say something to someone, you're going to hear it to your face and you're going to hear it there and then. Yeah. I am not a person to beat around the bush. I don't believe in that. I hate talking about people behind their back. I don't do it. I think it's snaky. And I'm like, I think you should have the balls to go up to someone and be like, this is my opinion. How do you feel about it? And I think people feel like because they can be so anonymous online that they can do and say whatever the hell they want. Well, doesn't faze me in the slightest, because I'm like, I know you wouldn't say that to me. You can have your opinion. You're entitled to it. Is it going to affect me? Are you my family? Are you my friend? No. So do I care? Not particularly.
Have you had any abuse online?
Not so much in the past few months, but like a few years ago I would have. So I have this tolerance built up from years of it. So it doesn't bother me too much now. Like you might get like, you're not good. So I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. I'm not going to please all 7 billion people in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, once people kind of get into that mindset that like, you can't please everyone. Some people are going to like this sound. Some people are going to like another. Some people just won't like you as a person. And that's very fine too. Like, regardless of how nice you are, there's just some bitter people. And that's fine too. Do you know?
Yeah. Do you know though, like, I do feel that like it's more revealing towards the people who are acting that way than it is to the person that they're acting it to. You know, they obviously are insecure and haven't been shown love and haven't been shown support the way that maybe they see other people receiving online, you know. So, but I also am a believer in, if you have something negative to say, then offer a solution to go with it. Don't just say you are bad. You say, I liked this, I didn't like this, you know, why don't you look at this video, it might help, or, you know, offer some kind of solution or some kind of encouragement.
Yeah, exactly.
Mean about it.
Yeah, like it's not constructive in the slightest. It's just like, you're bad. I'm like, okay, what part was bad? Is it just bad that you don't like my hair in the video? Do you not like the song? Like, it's not specific enough for me to know what is bad. You know, and then someone like, you're just bad, like, and I'm like, okay, thank you. Not helpful, but thank you. I have no idea what to say to them.
I know. It's so great that
like,
I was going to say, it's so great that you have that resilience kind of built up.
Yeah, like, to me, oh God, I take everything with a pinch of salt. I take on constructive criticism all the time. I'm not a person to be like, I don't care what you think. I am, but only if it's like not constructive. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. If it's constructive, I'll take it on board, no problem. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. But I think if it's totally just deconstructive and just horrible, I'm like, oh God, I have no time for you, honey. No time.
Yes, and that's the right way to be. But like, you know, not everyone is as resilient as that. So, you know.
Yeah. But sometimes though, it does get to you sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes, though, it does get to you. Like, there might be a flurry of them in one go, and you're like, okay, that wasn't particularly nice. Am I going to retaliate? No, because that's what they're looking for. Yeah. Am I going to delete the comments? Yes.
Come here. When you're putting up stuff online, like, do you just record it and put it up, or do you like take loads of takes, and like are you really picky about what you put up, or kind of how does that
If
work for you?
you saw my camera roll, it's thousands of videos of just the same recording over and over and over, because I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to what I'm putting online. But I think over the last couple of months have really changed my mindset with everything. The last couple of months have been like, you can't be perfect all the time. So just throw it up. Stop overthinking it. Okay, you hit a really bad note on that. Who cares? Throw it up anyway. The usual person's not going to listen to that and be like, oh my God, that was an awful note. And if they do, oh well, at least you know it yourself too. Do you know what I mean? So I just think being a little bit less, because like always, like I like things that are not completely perfect for other people, but then when it comes to me, I'm such like it needs to be perfect. And I think I need to get out of the mindset of, okay, you don't sound great today, that's fine. You might sound great tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So I think being not such a perfectionist online and even in person, because you're going to mess up and that's just going to happen and you're just going to kick yourself, and there's no point in doing that because there's going to be 1,000 other people online who will probably do that for you. So why kick yourself?
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
And like obviously, like, we're hearing like a very high standard of recording artists online all the time, and that's what people tend to compare themselves to. But like, do people ever go on and listen to the live versions of those songs? Like, they're some of them are still amazing, but they're not always perfect, and that's okay because they're not robots. Like,
Absolutely.
they have studio magic to make it perfect. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have that when you're doing a live gig.
And like, we both know ourselves, like, you don't even need to be able to sing now to have a record deal or anything. Like, you don't have to have any of it. Like, so I think a lot of people need to get out of the thing of like, that's a lot of that is very much studio magic, like you said. Like, there's only so much the human voice can do that live. Like, we have our limits, whereas the studio doesn't.
Where did you record your music, or do you do it yourself, or who do you work with?
I work with my friend Cian O'Donoghue, and for my first single, I worked with a guy called Fionn O'Brien, or Fob Beats. Amazing, lovely, lovely dude. But the person I work with all the time for writing my songs and now producing is my friend Cian O'Donoghue. So talented, so lovely. I met him when I moved to BIM.
Okay.
And we're constantly working on music together. So we wrote Suffocating together. He got the melody, I got the lyrics. We wrote When Ash Turns to Diamond together. We wrote To Be With Him together. Prisoner, then I wrote my own as my like last kind of second of kind of like I'm angry with the government.
Yeah.
And The World's the other one. Then they were like collabs that I did. We're co-written with other people, but my main person is my friend Cian. And we sit down for hours, and Zoom calls now is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of he'll send me like, this is a nice chord progression. What do you think? I might write something to it. I'm like, I'm not feeling that now.
Mm-hmm.
We've very much gone into we're going to start writing a lot of bops now instead of the sad ones. We've gone into more like, okay, let's make it a little bit more fun for people now, So that's what we're working with now. So we're experimenting with so many sounds, from Miley Cyrus to Dua Lipa to Billie Eilish to like the much more upbeat kind of, well, I wouldn't really say Billie Eilish is extremely upbeat, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like bad guy kind of thing,
Less kind of ballady maybe?
Yeah, a little bit more kind of like Diamond Sam Smith, because I'm always getting the Sam Smith comparison. So very much the Diamond Sam Smith, a little bit more upbeat, like, or like How Do You Sleep or Promises, that kind of a vibe now is much more what I'm going down.
By the way, that I forget who it was, but you posted something the other day on your Instagram feed about the guy who sounds like you.
Stop.
He was like your twin, your voice twin.
Someone sent that to me, I think over a year ago, and I forgot about it, and I never posted about it. I was like, haha, that's really funny. And then I heard it again, but a different video, and I was like, why does that sound exactly like me? I was kind of like, one, I was kind of like blown away because I was like, he won the Australian X Factor. I was like, oh my God, I can win the X Factor. That's the first thing that came into my head. I was kind of like, everyone says I sound like him, and oh my God, I can win the X Factor. And he wins on the Eurovision. I was kind of like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever gone for? Sorry, I was.
I think a few years ago I auditioned for like The Voice and stuff, but one, I don't think actually I would have been mentally prepared to go on, because I know a lot of people who've been on The Voice and stuff now and X Factor. So I don't think back then I would have been prepared. Now, 100%. I'd be so ready for that.
Oh my God,
Do
you
I
would
want to
slay
do
it.
that? Do I want to do those another thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best career move, because I find a lot of people might be slightly deadened by that afterwards. Like if you don't go anywhere, kind of a thing. Now, I'm not saying that's always what happens, but I don't know if that's something I want to do now. Maybe in a few years' time, maybe my much more mid-20s, maybe late 20s. We'll see. Maybe like I'm only 22 now. I have plenty of time to figure out all that. Like, so I don't know. Maybe I think it'd be fun. Much more The Voice or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be going for X Factor or something like that. I think that's too much about the story, and that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But The Voice, definitely, because I'm very like vocals.
Yeah, like, but you know, like it's a weird, like, well, I think you would do so well in it, because you know you're of a genre of music that they like, and you're amazing vocalist. Like, there's no doubt that they turn for you. But I know exactly like what you mean about, you don't know how it would have, what kind of long-term effects it would have on you as an artist, because that's the same reason why I didn't go for it as well, because I was kind of like, I don't know if it's that beneficial in the long run. And like, and I'm the same, like I've chatted to like a good few people now who've done The Voice, and like once your season is over, they forget about you. Like, you know, that they don't stay and mentor you and like give you record deals and all the rest.
Honestly, the only person I can think of that came from The Voice or something was Lauren Alred, who sang Never Enough in The Greatest Showman.
Okay, right. I didn't know she came from one of those shows.
Yeah, she came from The Voice. I think it was like the German one or something, but like that's genuinely the only person I can think of.
Oh, Will Young. Didn't he come from one of the... And was it Will Young? Remember him years ago?
Oh God, probably,
You were probably too young.
Probably, I'm just thinking more like the line of like The Voice now, like, and the only other people I can think of is there's Zoe or something is her name, and she has the one, you know, I don't want to lose control.
Xavier or something like that. Is that her name? The girl with the dreadlocks.
Oh, Javaya. She was on The Four. That's a different thing.
Oh.
There's a girl who sings this song called Control, and it's so good. And I know she came from it. I can't really think of anyone else, but I love The Four. Javaya, unbelievable. I love like the accent she has as well, and obsessed with her. Yeah,
she's amazing. I was like blown away when I heard her first.
And she did the A Whole New World with Zayn as well when that came out.
Oh, I don't think I heard
for the new Aladdin movie when that came out a few years ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they did the remake of that. It was so good.
Yeah, but you know what though? We're just going back to the social media thing, and even, I don't know if you watched the Britney documentary yet. Did you watch it?
I haven't. I planned on watching it tonight, actually.
Yeah, I watched it last night. I stayed up past my bedtime just because I was afraid they'd take it down off YouTube. But I won't spoil it for you. But they were, I don't know if I read this online after watching it or if it was actually in it or not. But they were talking about the control, like Britney's team had over her. As well, yeah. And her dad and all of that, and then
he lost that battle.
I seen it today.
I saw that today. Yeah,
which is amazing news, I think, for her. Like, you know what I mean? She's old enough to look after herself. Like,
she's 40. The woman's 40. Like, she's well capable. Yeah.
But somebody mentioned along the way, anyway, that she, with the boom of social media now, she can create her own image and she gets to present whatever she wants to the public now. It's not just what the papers write about her, which I think is so powerful. So like social media can have such a beneficial effect as well, because it gives artists their power back.
Yeah. They get to show what they want to show, and it can't really be twisted because everyone has seen it, you know? But now, sometimes it can, but like to a point, it can't really be... whatever they put out, it's them putting out. It's their own backlash if something goes wrong, do you know?
Yeah.
But instead of them getting random stories and stuff like that, this is like, well, you did post this, so, do you know?
I know. And I'm going to skip now a little bit. So can you tell us a little bit about your vocal training and kind of how kind of your musical education in general has kind of molded you into the creature you are today?
The creature. I think when I was younger, I loved like Christina Aguilera, and that was the first CD I got as well. So I was always trying to mimic her runs and everything, like from like a young age of like 4 or 5, being like, I love this woman, you know. And then I think when I was about 13, I heard Mariah Carey's Vision of Love for the first time, and I was hooked. Like hooked. Like I was like, oh my God, I want to become a singer. So I begged my mom and dad to take me to lessons. I had an ability to a point, but it's definitely not where my standard is now. Like, so I started in VoiceWorks in about, I'd say about 2014. I started there, and I went there for about 2 years up in Cork, and I had Gemma Sugar as one of my coaches and Dara Keary. And then for my leaving cert year, then I went to Lisa Curran down in Killarney then, because I live in Mill Street, so it was closer for me with my leaving cert year.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I prepared for my leaving cert music and stuff, and I did a lot of gigs, like the Summer Breeze sessions in Fitzgerald's Park, performed at Pride, all the opportunities I was given through the school.
Wow.
And then I met Trish Rooney then, from CIT through singing competitions and stuff, and through my best friend Anya Carroll, amazing singer as well, little plug for Anya.
Yeah.
And I met her then through competitions and stuff, and she introduced me to the likes of like Keith Hanley, who was the first winner of the Voice of Ireland.
Okay.
And then I did other competitions, and I started building my little network of people.
Yeah.
And then I decided then I would start in UL, and I went to the Irish World Academy there for about 2 years. And I learned a lot of, I got to perform for the president of UL. We did a carpool karaoke.
Oh, that's cool.
So many opportunities.
Oh, I think I've seen that actually. Did you post that? Yeah, I think I've seen that.
They posted it on the
your
UL
social
page.
media? Did you start a new account or something?
So what happened with my social media? I've never been sadder. So about Christmas last year, Christmas 2019, I had posted 2 singing videos with this new thing. I think it was like a Sing King or something with the backing track of them. Apparently it went against the guidelines of Instagram, and they deleted my account. Instead of deleting the videos, I tried for about a month to get it back, and I couldn't. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to have to start a new account. So I built it up since. And I had about 5k people on the last account, but we're at 3k in about a year.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that. We're getting back up anyway. So yeah, that was really, I suppose, kind of disheartening, because I'd worked really hard to get the following on it. And but sure, look, it happens.
I was wondering, like, because I don't know when I noticed it, but I was like, I just noticed that you didn't have, like, it looked like you only had a few pictures. I was like, I'm pretty sure you had more than this before, and there was, I don't remember what, but there was definitely videos I had watched on your page that weren't there anymore, and I was like, maybe he just decided to start fresh. You know? No,
there was so many, and I wish the account was still there, because I had so many people that I still can't find, like people, and I keep hashtagging things I might have hashtagged before for fear that they might see it again, and I just can't find some of them, and I'd made like lovely connections on it as well, and I couldn't even remember what their handle was or anything, so I found a few of them. Some of them have found me, and they'd be like, did you delete your account? Did you block me? And I'm like, no, I didn't, I swear.
Oh, bless. That's so sad. Oh, my God.
So I found a lot of them again, thank God. And I met up with a lot of them since, so that's great.
Yeah. So you were saying you were in UL, and then you went to BIM, and you're in, is it third year you are now? Are you in third year?
Third year in BIM now, yeah.
Yeah. And what have you got any plans for when you finish? Do you know kind of where you're going with it, or?
I definitely think I am going to be moving to London or LA 100% when I'm done that. Now, I told myself this year, like, because I'm not really sure, like, will I finish out this year yet? I've only got a few months, I might as well. But I'm definitely going to take a gap year in the next year anyway. Just with COVID, I might as well do something for myself.
Yeah.
I won't be traveling, but like, you know, just do little things that I mightn't get the actual opportunity to do. Like, I still haven't got my driver's license. Olivia Rodrigo, girl, I'm coming.
Do you drive?
For you. No, I haven't even done my theory test. I haven't had time with how much I've moved and with college and preparations for auditions when I was younger. And just didn't have time. So that's something I want to knock off the agenda.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to play guitar for the year. I want to do that on my own.
Wow.
I kind of just want to work as well for the year, work on my music, work on my album. Hint, hint, there's an album coming.
Exciting.
So that's kind of what I want to do for the year, just to give myself a little bit of a break from constantly worrying about assignments and stuff. Take the year out, do my own thing, and then come back into it then with a new kind of refreshed head for the final year, or if I repeat the third year, or whatever the hell I end up doing.
Yeah.
And just giving myself that little bit of time to breathe, because I need that breathing time.
Yeah.
And then I am off to LA, I'm off to London, I'm off to follow and catch that dream. If it works out, great. I'm giving myself till about mid-30s to strive for that dream. And if nothing happens by then, I'm going to settle down. We're going to become a music teacher or something. But I'm going to give myself the few years, plenty time. I've about 10 years, no problem, absolutely. But I'm going to give myself that timeline, just because I have to be kind of realistic at the same time as well. Like, I will need to make some kind of an income as well. So I told myself that's what I'll do. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, at least I know I didn't go down without a fight and I gave it my best shot. And I'm still going to make my own music and stuff. But like, no, we'll settle down. We'll have a fam. You know what I mean? So that's the plans for the future anyway.
Yeah. And you know what? That'll probably change as well. You know, like...
Probably. You never know.
You never know what's happening. Yeah.
Next year I could be married. Who bloody knows? It's so hard to know. Like, I could be married by the time I'm 23 and I would not put it behind me with the things that have happened this year. Who bloody knows what's going to happen? Do
you have a boyfriend now?
No. Oh, so
sorry.
I'm really fishing for it. Like, I'm like, hello, I'm single.
So call 1890 to hook up with her. No, I'm joking.
So call me, I'm single. Valentine's on Sunday. No, please don't. I want a boyfriend.
Oh my god! But you know what? I'm sure it's so hard to meet people now with lockdown and everything. Like,
yeah,
pretty much
like
impossible.
I am talking to a few people. You know, we are sliding into the DMs now and again. You know what I mean? But we'll see, because I can't exactly meet up with people at the moment, but you know, we're definitely trying. The Tinder is on the go 24/7, just like swiping.
I'd say they haven't been as busy ever.
No, I swear to God, this is where they're making all the money now.
Yeah, I know.
Especially with Valentine's in like a day, they're just like, yeah, like, I don't want to be single.
Oh my God, yeah, Valentine's. Oh, I'm terrible with Valentine's. I was like in Aldi today and I was looking at the Valentine's cards to have. I was like, I should probably get himself a card. But I was like, every time I read the cards, I'm just like, no, they're too mushy for me. Like, you know.
I literally, when I went to the shop, what did I get? I got strawberries and I got the Lindor chocolates for myself.
Oh,
for Valentine's, I'm sitting and I'm watching the saddest love movie ever, and I'm going to be fine about it.
I love that. I bought myself flowers before as well, actually. I was like, bought myself a bouquet of flowers just to cheer myself up on a
Oh, 100%. I'll probably do the same.
Cool. So, obviously, you've had some vocal training and you've been performing for a good few years now. But one of the things that really stands out about you is you're so good at riffing. Like,
thank you.
So good at it. And I remember, I think I might have sent you a message complimenting you on your riffing before on Instagram, and you just said,
Probably,
girl, I practiced really hard to get this. So
yeah.
Tell us, how does it work? How does it work for you? What's the process?
I think for me, when I was younger, I did a lot of listening to artists that did runs, from Beyonce to Christina to Mariah to Whitney. Like the soul queens of riffing, do you know what I mean? Like the people that were like, and especially in the last few years, it would have been Jessie J now, or Ariana Grande, like the people that would have been very much like the queens of riffs and runs, you know? And I think for me, I built up an ear for learning how to do them, as well as practicing them. Now, I've always been quite naturally agile in my voice anyway, which was always a benefit. Yeah. But I feel like there's still some runs that, like, oh God, I can't do that. I'll have to break it down bit by bit by bit by bit. But I think not getting yourself too caught up and frustrated with them. You can learn off your few little simple runs, like, oh, like the little, like 7-note runs or something like that, that you can utilize now and again. Now, sometimes using the same run over and over again is going to be extremely annoying. Than that. But I think learning the basics and learning how to do, because there is a difference between runs and riffs. Like, a riff is like a it's like a continuation, whereas the run is like, no. It's a different
Uh,
mechanism that you're using. And I think finding the difference between them, but also incorporating your little style into it too, but not getting too frustrated if you can't do it, because it is an art form in itself. Do you
mm,
know what I mean? And the practicing of it is a big thing. You need to practice scales all the time, like, just do
yeah.
re mi fa sol la ti do, no, and just doing little ones like that now and again really, really does help solidify your technique. And eventually then you can just do like a vomit run like I did there. You can just throw out whatever one you want.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an art form. But listening to people and listening to their runs and trying to emulate them definitely for me helped, especially when I was younger. And I have been doing runs since I was about 10 years old,
Yeah.
practicing them like all the time and making sure that they're perfect and they're crisp and clear and that you can hear every single note. Now, they're not always perfect. I've had extremely messy runs and I'm like, oh, Lord. But 99% of the time, they're very much kind of, because I would have practiced them for certain songs, but sometimes then I'll just throw them in for the crack. But I think as well, there's a difference with overusing them, which I
Yeah.
used to do a lot, and placing them in the song at the right time and not just doing
Yeah.
it for the I can do runs, which was very much my mindset before.
Yes.
But now it's very kind of like, does this work with the song? Is it the right tempo? Does it blend? Like, does it even make sense? Like,
Yeah.
if you're thinking about it, like the word down, you might do a downward run in it because it's just the word down. It sounds kind of cool that you're singing on down,
Word
or like
painting.
fall, or like I'm going up, like, doing it upwards, and like little things like that kind of, they make sense with the words, or little things like that. And I feel like that's the art of riffing and running. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm so not a riffer, but I've been kind of dabbling with it a bit over the last year or so, like just mainly for to work on my agility, like because I was in a
Yeah.
rock band for like 8 years, so like I wasn't like
Yeah.
riffing like Mariah Carey in the
I'm
band, like so.
obsessed with rock and Miley Cyrus's new era.
Mm,
Obsessed with that right now.
yeah, she's really bringing rock back, like
I love it. I love all the 80s. Sure, all the 80s children are now dominating the things. So the 80s and 90s are coming back. Like, you've Dua Lipa and The Weeknd that are very 80s inspired.
Mm.
Ariana bringing the 90s in with the R&B sound. It's hilarious because they're all dominating the area. So that's going to come back.
I just was, as you were talking about the riffing, I just had a little flashback. Were you at the KJ Rose performance workshop in VoiceWorks like 2 years ago?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, because I just remembered her. I remember her giving you some feedback on your song when you sung it.
I
I
did
can't remember
Killing Me
what it was.
Softly. Killing Me Softly.
Yeah. What did you think of the workshop?
She's amazing. She's so good. And she's the loveliest girl. And she makes you feel good about yourself. And she's like, no, here's the energy. I'm bringing it. Now you need to bring it. And I love that.
I found it really inspiring. Like, 'cause she came in. Remember, she came in. She had entrance music and everything.
She was jumping in, like jogging
She's
in
like, yeah,
and like
oh yeah, oh
skipping. And I was like,
yeah, hyping us.
I love her already.
It was brilliant. And do you go to many workshops and things like that now, or?
I do the workshops that would come up in BIM now. Like, they'd be like, this workshop's coming. Like, Gemma had one now recently. I didn't go to that one. I was really, really sick that day in bed, just to like, I'm not able for anything today. But a couple of them I would go to now, like if I saw them, like they could be on like A&R companies or like little things like, but vocal workshops I haven't done in a while, because I'm always, I suppose, in class, like learning technique and stuff anyway. So I feel like I wouldn't, like now, unless it was something that I really didn't know how to do, or if I felt like I wanted to hone back on my technique and maybe perfect something because I always think going to lessons, regardless of your level, is so important, because you forget techniques at times, or your technique might have slipped a bit. I know mine has slipped a bit in the last few months because I haven't been 100%, doing my lessons. Like, my belting technique she's gone a little bit shouty. I've heard that. And I'm like, okay, Ger, we need to hone in on her again. We need to make it sound like you're not screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah.
So I think very much like honing in and making sure that you kind of know that, like, okay, I need to take care of my voice a little bit. This workshop will benefit you. And I know for a fact they have benefited me a lot.
Yeah, and even just like I find going to them, it's kind of inspiring and kind of motivates you to like do something and kind of
Yeah,
grow
exactly.
your skill set. And like, do you have like a daily vocal routine that you do, or how do you kind of care for your voice?
Well, I'm not really singing much with lockdown, but if I do
Mm.
feel like I might just do a little bit of singing, I won't exactly warm up. Like I'll sing kind of a low song first and then do a higher one. But I'm working on a lot of techniques now recently. Like I'm trying to perfect my whistle register a little bit better.
Yeah, I saw you
Because I
posted
feel like yeah, because like I feel like that's nearly turned into like a signature of me, like runs and whistle is very much like my signature thing now. Because
Mm,
I've been inspired by the likes of Minnie Riperton, Mariah, Shantae Moore, Ariana Grande. Like they're my people, and there's
yeah.
not many like artists these days that are doing that kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, this makes me stand out. I'm capable of doing it, so why not? Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on now. I'm just getting a little bit more confidence, so I can do it. Like I can do it live 90% of the time, but it's more being more confident in using it because it's kind of like, oh god, what if this doesn't come out? That's embarrassing, do you know?
Yeah. That's yeah, it is. It's about repetition so that eventually you build up the muscle memory that it just does it. You know?
Yeah, because
When
like
you're first learning, it's like it doesn't always come out the way you want it to.
yeah, because like I can go fairly low and I can go fairly high, like so it's utilizing all the range but making sure that it's like always there as well, because you can't be like, I can hit this note. I'm like, can you do it all the time? No, so that
Yeah.
can't be included in your range. Like my comfortable range of all the time singing is about 5 octaves of comfortable always singing. My range is about 8 octaves. I think it's 8.3 octaves the last
That's
time I tested.
unreal.
I can go about a full octave off the end of the piano, and I can go about a full octave below the end of the piano as well.
Oh my
So
god. That's kind of a bit mental.
oh,
Right?
it's
There's not
absolutely
many
nuts.
people who have a range like that.
No, it's nuts, and I've
Freddie
been told
Mercury
I'm
maybe?
absolutely. Freddie Mercury had about 4 octaves.
Wow.
Prince had about 6 as well. Prince, Axl Rose, Mariah Carey has about 5. But I usually say for me, I'm like 5 octaves because that's
Yeah.
what's always there. I'm
Yeah.
usually from about a low F2 to about I'd say about a G7. Like that's where I'm always, I can always hit these notes,
Oh my
regardless
god.
of time of day, whatever's happening. This is always what comes out. Like, you know, so that's why I'm like, okay, 5 is the safe one for me. Do I always sing in 5 octaves? Absolutely not. I usually
Yeah.
always sing in about 2.5, maybe. Do you know?
Yeah.
But if needs be, we'll be there. Someone's like, I need
Yeah.
someone to hit this high note. I'm like, I am here.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's like always like a kind of a base foundation there of notes, but to get those other
Yeah,
notes, you need to kind of keep working on them, even if you're not necessarily singing songs
exactly.
with those notes in it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's next for Ger?
Oh, well, he's going to take his little bit of time to work on him and, or them. I, as well, as you know, identify as non-binary, but like, I'm like he, they, them, Ger. I'm like, I'm good with it because I'm
Mm-hmm.
very male presenting, as we
Yeah.
know. So, you know, just so everybody knows, it's fine. I won't get
Yeah.
offended, but that's the preferred anyway. So I'm very kind of like, you know, next year album, hopefully. That's what we're
Okay.
aiming towards.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but we're hoping maybe this time next year, EP or album. I'm more striving towards the album of about 10, 12 songs.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of them recorded already.
Okay.
They haven't been put anywhere. And it's, I think as well, picking and choosing which songs sound cohesive as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. But that's the plan. More music, definitely build the social medias. Looking for management at the moment. That's my big thing, looking for that. And we'll see how that goes anyway. But yeah, that's the plan for the year. And we'll see how that goes. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's always good to have plans and to kind of have some idea where you're going next, but also be open to it changing because things change all the time. So
Yeah.
and just adapting as you go along.
Exactly, 100%.